What's up guys, my name is Liam and today we're going to be taking a look at the Drunkdeer A75 Pro. This has been one of the best performing keyboards that I've tested with a 75% layout, and it comes in at a really good price. But is this going to be the perfect gaming keyboard for you? Let's check it out. And before we get started today, I did want to let you know that Drunkdeer did send this out to me. However, everything you're going to be seeing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. Included inside the box with the keyboard, it does come with a USB-C cable, and it also does come with this keycap puller. I do feel like the overall design of this with the layout feels really good and solid. Everything feels as it should be. This is where you have the USB-C cable where you can hook it up. Over here to the left, you do have these four corners. This also does have that external cushioning design. We'll get into that a little bit more when we do open it up, but this also does have the option for these flip out feet, so you can actually angle the keyboard up a bit more, and these flip outs do actually have these rubber bottoms on them, so nice and grippy. As I was using them, everything seemed to work out great, and the front of the keyboard is a very low profile. So in terms of gaming on this, typing on it, being able to adjust it, it really did work out great for me. When it comes to the keycaps, it does look like they do offer two options. They do offer just the ones with the print on the top, but these are actually the shine through keycaps, and I have been really enjoying these. They do feel lightweight, but they do feel overall really great to use. And here's a close-up look at the knob for those of you that are interested. It does have these grooves on the side, so it is very nice to use, feels nice and premium, and it's very grippy when you're trying to use it to adjust the volume. This is using the Raesha magnetic switches, and I've actually gone over these switches quite a bit in my previous videos, but in case this is your first time watching the channel, these use just this wider single rail design, and in all honesty, they do feel very stable for what you're getting, and they have an actuation force. The initial is around 40 grams, the bottom out is around 60 grams, so kind of right in line of the ratings for the Lecker 60s, and all around these switches they feel really great to me. They're very smooth, and I think that they're a great option for gaming on. So let's go ahead and drop a sound test. Taking a look at the internals, this was a little bit more challenging to open up compared to other keyboards I've recently been playing around with. I did actually have to use this pry tool right here, and it kind of has these notches all the way around the edges. It does state here that this is an aluminum case version, and I kind of assumed that this whole thing would be aluminum, but just by taking a look at it and the feeling of it, as soon as I got it out of the box, this does feel like this bottom piece is absolutely plastic. The only aluminum piece that I notice on here is just this emblem on the back. And then same thing up here with this top tray. Just all around it, this absolutely has to be some type of a plastic. You can even kind of tell from the grooves in there. But then this piece that is on here on the back, this does feel like it is actually aluminum. But coming over underneath the keycaps, here we got the Raesha switches themselves. Standard stuff, it is inserted into an aluminum plate. Typically I've been seeing some type of a silicone gasket separating this aluminum tray from the bottom circuit board, but it does actually look like they went with some type of a foam gasket on this version. Here's a close-up of what the circuit board looks like for those of you that are interested. And then right underneath the circuit board itself, it does have this really thin piece of foam for the sound dampening. And underneath that, they do have this rubberized gasket sitting at the very bottom. You do have this shock absorption here on the actual feet themselves, both on the top feet and on the bottom feet. When it comes to the external cushioning design of this keyboard, there is some give and some movement to it as you're actually typing on it. You don't notice it so much when you're just casually typing, but as you are gaming, if you do like to be very aggressive, pushing the keyboard quite a bit, then you do notice a difference in the feeling. The harder that you push down, you do get some additional give. It does have a little bit of a softer feeling. The software is accessible through this web-based browser, and it's incredibly easy and intuitive to use. Over here, the tab to the left is where you're able to adjust the RGB color effects for the appearance of your board. You have all these different presets. You can do static. You can just turn it off. So really simple and easy to use. Coming over here to the performance tab, up here in the top left mode is where you have this turbo mode. When turbo mode is enabled, it will not allow you to adjust any of the RGB presets. It just does one solid color. And I will go over and talk a little bit more about this here in just a little bit in the performance portion, but here you can turn it off or turn it on. Then down here to the left is where you can enable the rapid trigger mode. I obviously recommend turning this on. So if you wanted to make adjustments over here for the rapid trigger settings on your keys, the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to select what keys you want to make adjustments for. You can simply come up here and select this All tab. You can clear these if you wanted to just select individual keys. If you want to give a higher sensitivity or WASD and leave all the other ones less sensitive, it gives you all those different types of options and able to do so. But when it comes to the actual actuation point, it's set right here. It does have a minimum actuation of 0.2 millimeters. It can move in 0.1 millimeter increments all the way down to 3.8 millimeters. So for myself, I like to keep it at the 0.2. Then over here is where you have the key sensitivity. If you have this set to 0, I do believe it is set to off. And then once you come over here, you can adjust it as low as 0.1 millimeter on both the upstroke and the downstroke. Once you actually activate the switch and hit this first actuation point, after that, these keys will take over. The second you come up 0.1 millimeter on the upstroke is when it will take over the downstroke. So you can go up and down and feather it just 0.1 millimeter for the fastest sensitivity possible. And then last but not least, over here on the remap tab is where you can come in here and just adjust any of the keys. You can set multimedia functions, mouse functions, and you can even come over here and set up options for your function 1 and 2 key bindings. And when it comes to the performance of the Drunkdeer A75 Pro, I set it up on this rig that I've done in my previous videos with the solenoid, something that's very commonly done out there. As I always mention before I perform this test, just so you guys know, this is not the most accurate way of testing latency on these boards. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there for you. There are different types of varying factors that can alter the result, but just using this to test out for fun to see what type of real world results I was able to come up with. The one thing that was kind of confusing to me is talking firstly about the turbo mode on here. I was going back and forth A and B testing, having the turbo mode off, having it on, and in game I was not able to personally notice any differences between the two. And one thing that I found kind of odd is as I was running this test, I just ran it through really quick 10 times with turbo mode off. All the settings on the keyboard were exactly the same. Then I just simply turned turbo mode on, ran it through 10 times again. And I found it kind of interesting to see that even though they kind of did trade back and forth, the end result when I tallied everything up is 70%. So 7 out of 10 times the non-turbo mode actually won in game when it came to both pressing on the switch and releasing on the switch. So I did kind of find that a little bit interesting. But the one thing that always really impresses me about these Drunkdeer keyboards as I was going back and forth A and B testing this against my Wooting 60HE, and just to be clear, I do have the Lecker 60s in that keyboard. I was not able to tell any type of a real world difference in terms of latency. So I really do feel like they kind of feel very similar to one another in terms of the overall performance. And the same thing shows through when I was going through these testing results. As I was going back and forth, I ran this test on the Wooting 20 times, and then I ran it on the Drunkdeer keyboard 20 times as well. And truly they were just trading blows back and forth. Sometimes the Drunkdeer would win, sometimes the Wooting would win. At the end of the day, when I tallied everything up, I think the Drunkdeer came out with 1 win on the press of the switch, and the Wooting came out with 1 win on the decompression. So with my system, I really wasn't able to tell a very noticeable difference in the overall performance in this type of scenario when I was playing Overwatch. All right guys, so that about wraps things up on the Drunkdeer A75 Pro. My only real complaint about the A75 Pro is I do feel like it was a little bit misleading to me. I thought this was going to have an all aluminum case. Again, it being plastic is just something I would recommend they make a little bit more clear for people that are looking to pick this up. But everything about the usability of this in game seemed to work perfectly for me. So I could say all around, coming in at the price that this comes in at, this is a big win for me, and I would definitely recommend checking it out. All right guys, so if you have any questions, I feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing any more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and thanks again so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.